I'm gonna miss you guys so much next week. It's unreasonable. But I'm really excited that you guys are getting the content that you are. It's gonna be so good. You're gonna learn how to make a website next week with Sydney, and it's gonna be super fun. Module 2. I'm also updating all of our modules because I'm getting you started earlier. I was like, I know that there are so many things that you can do with like mindset work, but I was like, I kind of want to get you into action to do like a small amount of loving triggering. Oh, great. I love it. I hope so too. But I'm just gonna trigger you like ever so slightly by doing a whole bunch of action that feels a little uncomfortable, which is always our favorite, right? But I know I'm so proud of you, Deb and Dorit, and it seems like everyone is starting to get out there and do a little outreach. So let's get in here and get started with it. And it is 10:02, so I'm going to go ahead and get started. How is everyone doing today? Like thumb up, thumb middle, thumb down? Doing all right? Awesome. Love it. Today, we are going to be talking all about outreach. So this is, I think, one of the most critical things that any business can do. It's all about building relationships. And I can guarantee it that you guys already probably have relationships that you have fostered that you don't even maybe realize or maybe don't remember building these relationships, but this is all a part of that. Oh, I love that. No such thing as a slight trigger. Very true, Dorit. Very, very true. But a kind, loving, maybe blind spot notification. Being like, oh, this is like a little like, ooh, just like a small little like, hey, we are notifying that this is something that's going to bring up a lot of thought work for you guys. So today we're going to be talking about your ideal customer. You're going to be thinking about who would be a really good fit for your product. And your product is your coaching program. And you're going to think about like, who are they? What are they up to? Where could they be? How could I meet more of them? And then we're going to talk about why it's important to oversell. We want to make sure that you guys are having consistency in your selling. You're also going to learn about cold lead outreach, and then warm and hot lead outreach. And Sarah, I know because you've got WhatsApp, unfortunately, we've got a group text, and I just messaged in the group text yesterday about the difference between the two, and I'll cover that today. So also, if someone could remind me, I'm pretty sure I will get this reminder, but we are for the week of the 23rd, the week I have the 200K mastermind that I mentioned, I think last week or 2 weeks ago. I got a special guest that's very, very, very important, but that call time is changing to Monday at 2. So just someone remind me because I will forget that maybe. I didn't write it in my notes. But it is so good to see you guys. And let's get into who your ideal customer is. And I'm just like sitting there on my phone. But it was like, I want you to think about who would be an awesome fit for your program. Would it be fun to like talk with them? I have been so excited. I've been like thinking about all the other life coaches and like people that I can help. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, this would be so awesome for them. This is a lot of stuff that they don't know yet. So I want you to answer at least 2 of these questions. And of course, I'll put this in the Google Classroom. But I want you to think about like, who do you serve? Who are the people that you're trying to help? What problem do you solve? And where could they be? So like for weight loss, they might be following nutritionists. They might be following gyms and things like that. That was just because Amber and Deb are right there. I'm like just thinking of you guys because I'm like, you guys are right there. And I also changed our our sheet yesterday that we talked about last week about where to meet people, and I'll share that with you guys as well. And I want you to think about, how do you serve them? If you are serving them like virtually, maybe a good place to meet them would also be virtually. I think everyone here is a virtual coach, except for Carrie, who goes in person to clean out people's closets and things like that. So pretty much everyone else, you meet people online. So go find people online. And then why are you specifically like the person for them to go to? Why would it be a great thing for them to work with you? These people want to work with you. And every single one of you, I've met with you. I know your pillars. I know what your business looks like on the back end. They're phenomenal programs. Like so damn good. Like I've like every person that I talk to, I'm like, oh, you would be a great fit for Dorit. And oh, you'd be a great fit for Shanna and Demetria and Deb and Sarah and Amber and like everyone else that's in the group whose names I can't think of because they're not on my screen right now. But it's like every single time that I think of you guys, I'm like, I am already starting to picture people that would be amazing, amazing fits for you. And so I want you to start thinking about like, okay, like I know your programs are really fucking good. Now you just have to get it out there and tell the rest of the world. So one of the things that I see with a lot of like businesses is that we've got single purchase customers. So we're thinking that like if we over deliver, then we won't re-sign people. And so a lot of times people aren't re-signing people. And I think a lot of times we take single purchase customers really personally. I've had four people in my entire history of my whole business that have ever re-signed with me my whole life. And it's not because they didn't get awesome results. And I took it really personally when my first Kristen, you guys can see her testimony on my feed. I was just talking about her recently. Like we went through so much together. Like it was like, oh my gosh, I felt like we were like soul sisters. We were tied. And she was like, I didn't want to resign. And I took that shit so personally. It stopped me from selling for like months. Don't take it personally. It does not mean they haven't had their current needs met. It just might be that your program has already met them so well and they're moving on to different things. Okay. The other thing that I see that creates some consistency issues is expectations. So we experience like a little bit of growth and then we think it's just going to keep growing. And then we just kind of like stop because everyone's like, we did it. We got a couple consults. Yeah. I was like, it's like we did some posts. It's like, oh, it's like, well, that was probably good. It's like, I'm good for like the next month. And so that's why we want to keep these positive thoughts about our business. We want to keep these positive thoughts about our people and you as an amazing coach that you are in general. And so we want to make sure that you guys are continuing to try and continuing to like keep up that momentum. And that's what we're going to talk about today is like how that tracker can help you with that. The next thing is that you might be missing new people. Some of you guys have had these businesses for quite some time. So you've got like a lot of really wonderful people who've gotten results, gotten value ahead of time. Maybe they haven't worked with you, but like, that's awesome. But we want to replenish those people and keep building your audience, building your reach. And so what I was talking about with the way I was restructuring our program is this week, we're going to be talking about outreach. Next week, you guys are learning how to build a website, which is going to be really fun. Sydney is so fun. And then on the next week, you guys are going to learn how to do a webinar. That has been like a very highly requested thing. And that was not originally a part of the plan. But I think that the webinar is going to help you get more reach. The outreach today is going to help you solidify the reach that you have. Also, outreach is going to help you build more people, but it's like, we want to have you bringing more people in always. Like there could never be a shortage of people if you're always bringing in new people. So the solution is where you sell constantly. It's called overselling. It's a concept that Stacey talks about, who is my coach, as you guys know. And we want to create something that is where it just feels consistent. It feels a flow. a system, if you will, so that you guys have this like constant flow where it just feels really easy to meet people, really easy to talk to people. And you have this like, there, you will never, the thing that might actually like, to some of you guys, you might be like, this is like a first world problem or whatever. But it's like, you will never have a shortage of people in your inbox. They're talking to you about stuff that you want to talk about. How cool is that? And so I remember my friend Jessie, who is a coach for angry moms, like what a cool business. She raised her hand to get coached and she was like, I'm just so overwhelmed because there are so many people in my inbox and I just don't feel like it's just too many. And I was like, wow, must be nice. I was like, must be nice to have that kind of a problem. It does actually get quite overwhelming sometimes. So be kind to yourself. Don't be like when I was like, oh, first world problems. But you want to always be bringing people in to the reach of your business. So why people don't do outreach and don't talk to people, meet more needs, is it feels weird. Okay. There's discomfort involved. Okay. When you don't have your thoughts aligned, when you're thinking that like, they're going to think I'm really awkward, this is so uncomfortable, it can feel terrible to reach out to people. We also are human beings that have built our lives based on this, or it's like the whole primitive brain and things like that. The reason why our brains are so scared of judgment is because literally in the past, you would be excommunicated from the tribe and death would happen. So your brain doesn't love it when judgment is involved. It's going to freak out. And so what you want to do is just know that that's coming. Know that discomfort and judgment, your brain is going to freak out. Again, blind spot alerting. And we want to keep doing it anyways, because it's so important that you will have that consistency in your business. And just to kind of hit that home, there's this thing called a motivational triad where it talks about how that primitive brain is wired. It's wired to conserve energy. Your brain does not want to spend an hour a day talking to people. It would be a lot more fun to do literally anything else. Your brain also wants to avoid pain. It does not want the judgment and discomfort. And you also want to seek pleasure. You know what is nice? Staying comfortable and just sticking with the marketing stuff that's going maybe well. It's like we haven't even talked about marketing. It's like, but our brains want to stay in what feels good. We do not, or just not marketing. It's like, well, it just, it's, and I would say seek pleasure. Seeking familiarity is probably a better word, because maybe where you are doesn't feel comfortable or pleasure, but it feels familiar and your brain is always going to go to what's familiar. So how do we hack this motivational triad? It's by going into what I call the accomplishment triad. So when you're in the motivational triad, your brain is actually really instant gratification-y, self-focused. It's thinking about you and protecting you. And it's designed to do that. So don't beat yourself up for it. But we want to literally rewire your subconscious so that it is evolving past what is like familiar and into something that's great and can help so many people. So the way that we do that is going into the accomplishment triad. That's where we're focused on more long-term gratification. So instead of avoiding the pain of doing something that feels kind of crappy, you would be avoiding the regret. Not only for you, but the people that you are meant to help. I know it. You guys are all meant to help people. They might never, this is very dramatic, but I'm just trying to amp you up because we're about to do some outreach and it's not going to feel great. So I'm like, I want you to imagine like this person might never hear about coaching ever if you don't like kind of like get the courage to do that. Also, seeking pleasure, seeking what's familiar is totally normal, but also thinking about all the success that you could have in the future. All the people, I want you to picture like hundreds of people that you could work with. That's where you're going. And how much fun, like, I want you to just like picture like working with like 100 people, like in your like lifetime. You get to make a positive impact on 100 people's lives. Fun fact, you already are with your marketing and things like that. But if you could one-on-one work and see 100 lives change because you were in it, would it be worth it to message a couple people? I hope so, you know? And that's the shit that like gets me lit up. Like I become so energized when I'm thinking about service focused, about other people. I'm like, okay, what would blow someone's mind? And I'm like, oh my gosh, making their Instagram like a website would be so awesome. Teaching someone how to just close a consult, that could be so helpful for them. Like and then they could help so many more people. Like that would be amazing. What if I can help one person do that today? I'm doing a webinar on annual plans, and which is what we'll be doing in March, but I'm going to have I'm just doing it as a webinar to start off the year. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like there are some people who have never planned out their whole year. They don't know what's going to come in each quarter. This is going to change their life. It's going to be so good. And you guys are welcome to come to the webinar. I'd love to have you and bring your friends. It'll be good. But it's like one of those things that like the things that you guys are already doing are revolutionizing lives. And so we just have to focus in on that accomplishment triad when you're thinking. It's really overcoming your subconscious. And that's why I want to actually give you guys a chance. You guys are going to message 10 people in the 30 minutes that we have. That's why I'm keeping a close eye on time today. And then I want to help you get out of the motivational triad, which your brain is going to want to go to when we coach together for the next hour. And I like this quote. I was like, I'm not telling you it's going to be easy, but I'm telling you it is going to be worth it. I promise. I literally messaged 5 people. I was just getting started as an example with you guys yesterday. And here's the thing. Whenever I do this, which is not enough, and I know that, and you guys are going to see, and I do not have imposter syndrome about it because I want you guys to see the real shit is that like doing all these systems will make your business work. You do not need to have all these systems perfectly in place for your business to work. It will work regardless. But I messaged 5 people, and randomly, one of my friends who's a dentist from college messaged me, was like, are you still doing that coaching thing? I would love to work with you. I'm like, of course, let's do this. And I was like, okay, set up a consult. Here's the link, But I think that would be like, I just want you guys to see that like, it might take a while. I want you to be willing to do it for the next 4 months that we're working together, but it might not either. So here are the rules. The first thing is connection. Do not be a weirdo. It's like, we don't want to be a weird, we don't want to be creepy. We don't want to be like, and I have here, it's like, people need time to build relationships. And I would say about like 10 times of talking to them before you build that relationship. So don't lead with, hey, buy my shit. Raise your hand if we've all gotten those messages on Instagram. They're like, you are going to, if you just follow me, I'm going to, for 5 seconds, I'm going to bring you 5 million followers, and it's going to be the best thing you have ever done. We do not want to be like that. That's why we don't want to be weirdos. You're just connecting with these people that you could really help, maybe for free, maybe for pay. Who knows? The next thing, this is the rules for cold engagement mostly, but also this could work for warm people, is like that introduction piece is more for cold, and say, hey, I'm pretty sure we're both in fill in the blank. And I've got that list of things. It's like, maybe we both go to yoga together. Do you go to yoga at this place? I'm pretty sure we both are in that. And then it'd be like, hey, I just want to like get to know you. Love to meet you. Are you doing the 6 a.m. class? That's the one I like, or 7 a.m. class. That's the one I like to do. And so then be genuinely interested in them, because you are. Every person that you talk to, whether or not they are a client or not, they can talk to you about, like, first off, it's just fun to build relationships. But second off, like, if they talk to you about something that's like real and personal, that was Fitzgerald. I hope you guys can hear that. But it's like, if they're talking to you about something that's real and personal, like, How cool is that they get to talk with someone and just get a chance to have someone who's genuinely interested in them? And you can use that maybe in your marketing. So it's a symbiotic relationship. It helps everybody. Again, you want to disconnect from your goal. You want to be like, hey, I'm disconnecting, detaching, and I want you to think about why it'd be good for them. Always putting that service first. Again, don't lead with buy my shit. We don't always want to lead with that. We want to build relationships first. And then if the person isn't interested, if you get ghosted by a bajillion people, well, not a bajillion, if you get ghosted by 100 people, there are 6 billion people in the world. This is always just beginning. I hope I got that statistic right. I think that there are 6 billion people. I don't know. I could be wrong. So we want to be, this is something I learned from, I went to a breakup coach this March, and she said, be committed to your goals, but not attached. And I was like, your goal of like finding a partner, but not attached to anybody. And I was like, that is brilliance right here. So it's like, we want to be committed to finding that one client. Amber, shout out, congrats. I saw that and I'm so excited. And every one of you guys are going to sign clients. It's absolutely happening, but we don't want to be attached to that. So you get into that place when you're like, you know, that feeling, you know, the attached feeling. We don't want to be attached to that. We just want to be committed to it. So here's what we're going to do on Tuesdays and Thursdays, except for today, you're going to do both cold and hot. You are going to reach out to cold leads. You're going to think about common interests. I'm going to show you how to do it. You're going to talk about like something like core power yoga. You're going to think about groups that you're a part of. You could talk about education and certification, or you could talk about where to meet people locally. These are all things that you could think about. I want everyone to get in mind one Instagram account that you are going to do this with right in 8 minutes. Okay. And I'm going to show you how to do it. The next thing that you're going to do is you're going to be like going into the nurturing list, which is the list that I had you guys start last week. And this is where you're going to talk to warm leads, and you're going to think about anyone you had an in-depth conversation about your business that could be a potential customer. Hot leads are people who are seriously thinking about purchasing. They are all in. They are people who are participating in social media polls. You might have already talked with them about coaching. And then that's where you can build that nurturing list with them. So here's a protocol. Old clients, former consults, people who like your posts, Facebook group, anyone you've talked to about coaching, an email list if you have one. I was wondering where you found me. If you don't know where the people on your email list came from. And then outreach is businesses you like. You're going to go to the followers. And I'm showing you exactly how to do this and say, you could say like, sorry, didn't mean to creep on you, but I think that we both follow this and I saw your account. Like, just wanted to say hi. Okay. And I'm going to show you how to do that. So you're going to create your spreadsheet, talk to 5 cold, 5 warm, 8 billion. Well, I was a little off. So what you're going to do is you're going to talk with these people today. So here is my lead generation list. And I've done this list twice. I've talked with people. So I've got like an old lead tracker where I've got like even more people. You're going to build your list as well. And what you do for warm leads, this is where you are going to talk with people that are a part of your business. You can have people who have done consults before, and I saved these lovely humans. And these names are confidential, obviously. So I'm going through it quickly so you don't see them. But I'm going to use Devin as an example. She's a former client. She's done testimonials for me. So I feel comfortable like messaging her. And I probably have, oh, hey, Sarah, look at you. You got featured. And I would go, typically she has something on her story, but I would go and I would message her. Okay. So I could just be like, oh, like, and I was actually just talking with her about like her brother. This is a friend of mine former client who is a coach for college students. And I was like, oh, like, just want to let you know this is going on. And so I would follow up with her. I'm gonna try and find someone who I haven't talked to about coaching in a while. Kristen, the girl who I just talked about. So I just send her funny videos because we're buds, but hey, beautiful. I was just thinking about you and wanted to see how things are going. Because I freaking miss her as a human. And like, I think I sent like a bunch of people, like, hey, like, I miss you. I was like, yeah, I sent like a bunch of people. I was like, I'm so sorry. It's been so long since we've talked. It's been insane. How are things going? Because I haven't done this in a while since like 10-4. And I was like, you know what? I need to like reach back out to these people. So that's how you do warm. How you do cold is I'm going to go to the life coach school. It's where I've got certified. Make sense as to why there might be people who could be interested in life coaching there. Oh, not. Oh. And what you want to do is you want to look at the followers. You're going to find people who have a circle around their name. That means they are public. You're going to, and I saw public coach, or it's like Get Fit with Riz. Oh, she's cute. It's like, I was like, oh, I could help her. Men's personal coach. I could totally help him. I could, this community and business builder totally could help her. Kathleen Salazar. Why not? You know, it's like, so I'm just going to click on this first person, a funnel strategist. I could probably help her in her business. And I click on her. And I'm like, oh my gosh, cool. So the 4 attachments is something that I actually have on my reading list. Like I literally have that on my Amazon thing. And so she's like posting a lead magnet page, copy structure almost done. So cool. Love that. And so I could go to her and be like, hey, like, I'm just about to like, for the first post, I just respond to their story. I found it just like helpful because then I can like have a relationship with them. And especially if they're public, then you can respond to their story. And so I'll just say like something like, OMG, that's my next Audible book. What do you think? And then done. And then I take her name and I put it in. I'm doing the same thing today. And you guys are going to see, I'm just going to say LCS. Today is 12/5. And look, I do not do this constantly, but whenever I do, March and April were my biggest month of sales ever. This is in 2021 when I learned how to do this. And then it was sporadic as fuck. And guess what? Whenever I talk to people in my business, guess what I'm doing this. And so you just copy and paste their name, the handle in. And if they message me back, I follow them back. But if they don't message me back, I don't typically follow them back. So that is how you do it. I know there are probably a million questions. So I want to give you 2 minutes to ask questions and I want you to get in there. So shoot, who's got one for me? There might not be, which would be fun. Anybody?
Okay, I have a question.
Yeah, I was about to say I would be surprised. Yeah, go ahead.
And you know I know this, but I got overwhelmed. What are we doing first?
5
There's a lot.
cold. Yes, it was 5 cold, 5 hot. So like, even if you want to, Rachel, yoga place in the area, like go to just one site and I want you to talk to 5 people.
Okay.
And in your spreadsheet, what that looks like is
And the spreadsheet is in module
6.
6. Okay.
It's in week 6, module 2, I think. But you're gonna do 5 cold, 5 hot. So it's right here. Nope, that's the outreach protocol. I just added it. So you're gonna do, for the outreach people, this is where everyone's gonna put 12/6, time spent 5 minutes, number of people. The goal for everyone, typically it's gonna be 10, but you're gonna do 5 source LCS, and you're gonna paste 5 people right here. And then the reason why I have it over here, why this is 10. So when you get to the gray, daily, typically you'll stop. And then this is where I'm like, Kristen, K. Goodman, date added 12/6, Last follow-up currently is 12/6. Lead notes, old client. And think about how cool it would be to get a message from your like your old friend. I'm gonna say like sources, Instagram, and friend.
So what's the difference between the warm and the hot?
Warm and the hot, we're just putting on the same nurturing spreadsheet. The hot people are, that's where if you want to go into the DMs and be like, hey, I know we talked about coaching before. Would you like to coach with me? I'm
So
offering.
those are people who have like, I guess what's the difference between what makes them a warm and what makes them a hot?
Warm is just people like I've had a lot of casual conversations. These are like people in my Facebook group, people who are like just kind of like following me, people who like watch my stories. Oh, wow. Cool. So she responded, so I'm going to follow her. But like if I look at my story, there's just like people who are following my story. They're like not people who have specifically, well, it doesn't show it on here, but it's like, yeah. So it's like I'll just go through and be like, hey, Samay, how's it going? Haven't talked to you in a while.
So if people have commented on your stuff, but they haven't specifically asked to work with you.
I would say it's still warm. Build that relationship, take a little time.
Okay.
It's like I've got people, and also something I talked to someone about is like people like looking for like the number of likes on their stuff. It's like I've got like 8 likes on my stuff. On Facebook, I have like 2 likes on my stuff. It doesn't matter. You can do this with anybody. Like it doesn't matter the number of likes you have. That was a question I got. But yeah, that's a good place to start. Just like, hey, how's it going? Just want to check in and see how you're doing. Super simple. And I don't want anyone doing that, the hot lead one right now. I just want you to check in with 5 people, make it really simple on yourself and just be like, hey, and go with old clients, go with people you've done a free call with, like things like that. Just checking in with people who you think could be interested. I know it's a lot, but it's just saying, hey, how's it going? How are you? You know, that is enough. I promise. And then you'll start to build a relationship. And then that's when, with the cold leads, that's when you're going to go to that thing. I said, like, hey, here, hey, I'm pretty sure we're both in this. Like, that's the second one. This is like your second. And I'm just going to say, it's actually not your introduction. It's like second message after doing like the first, like, hey, I noticed this was on your story. Let's build a relationship. How you guys feeling? Let's